Slava Jesus Christus, Slava Vika, glory be to Jesus Christ, glory be forever. This is Father Basil Malovany again, doing another podcast on this bright and sunny day where I live here in Canada. And I guess we know the news, especially if you're listening from Canada, is that Pope Francis has been doing a papal visit to Canada these last few days, and he's in Edmonton and will eventually go to Quebec and other places in Canada. Now, there's a lot of opinions, of course, we can have about this, and we have to remember that the reason that Pope Francis is doing this apology, he's apologizing for, as the head of the Catholic Church, for all Catholics, for the abuses that took place in residential schools in Canada by members of the Catholic faith, Catholic clergy, religious orders, and so on and so on. So, a few things I want to say about this. First of all, what those people did in those residential schools against innocent children, against people of different backgrounds, was wrong. There's nothing else we could say about that. And yes, an apology had to be said, because as Catholics, when we are when we have a belief about something and we pass this belief on to all the world, when someone from our church does wrong, we have to say it's wrong. We can't sugarcoat anything. It doesn't matter who it is that commits sin. A sin is a sin is a sin. So when someone commits a sin, we have to admit to it and apologize for it and ask for forgiveness, just like the Pope is doing. So there's what he's doing is absolutely the correct way to go about as a Catholic. Now, those actual people who committed those atrocities, well, they will be punished eventually. You know, God is going to judge everyone. I've talked about this before. God judges us for what we've done in this world. And if they, you know, some of those people who committed those atrocities might be deceased already, have not been brought to justice in the court systems, but they would still be punished by God for their atrocities if they didn't ask for forgiveness before their death. So this is our belief as Catholics. What we do in life matters. What we do in life is important. So if we committed sins, if we committed atrocities in life, we have to make amends for them. And if we haven't made amends for them in this world, and we haven't asked for forgiveness, if we haven't reconciled with God and others, then that's going to be on our soul on the day of judgment. There's no doubt about it. So the next thing I want to say is, of course, I've talked about this in previous podcasts, how the media is anti-Christian in our world today. Our media is anti-Catholic, and how they make the whole Catholic Church look bad because of the sins of a few individuals. And it's happened for years and decades, unfortunately, when I was a young seminarian and back in the 1990s, and there were these priest scandals coming out, mostly from the United States, but from other parts of the world. And the media took this as to say that every single person who is a priest or is a religious order is some kind of pervert, is some kind of sexual monster. And the society eats this up. Society eats this up all the time. And I'm going to tell you what the media does is sinful as well. They will be judged for their actions, those members of the media who make these stories up, who tell half-truths, who tell lies, who don't have all the information before they make the reports. They will be judged. There's no doubt about it. When they make accusations against the whole Catholic Church that is just not true, that every single member of the church is a molester or pervert, it's just wrong to say that. As I said, the people who did these acts are guilty and will be punished one way or another in this life or in the world to come if they haven't repented. But to say that every single person of a Catholic faith, of the Catholic clergy, is some kind of criminal or molester is just ridiculous to say. And I've heard that in posts before in the media. I've heard it, and there's many people who are anti-Catholic in this world. Many people are anti-Christian, and they are having a field day right now about what's happening in our world. From this Pope's visit, from the things that have happened in the past, from the very small percentage of people who have committed these acts in the Catholic Church. And we have to face reality. We have to face that this is not as widespread as we think it is. That not every single priest is going to be abusive. We have to stop thinking that way. We have to stop doing that. And the media has to stop doing that. All right? And, another thing I want to talk about regarding this, the Pope's visit to Canada, is that, relationships between different cultures has always had its ups and downs in the world history. Some of you may remember, if you've listened to my other podcasts, I've talked to you about this. I studied history in university. I know a lot about history. And every time two cultures interact together, it's not going to be an easy time. There's going to be rough patches in history. And again, I'm not saying that those people who committed these acts were not wrong. They are wrong. They are sinners. They need to be held accountable for their actions. What I'm saying, though, is that there's always going to be differences in opinion, differences in the way the world works when two cultures interact. And we hope and we pray that we respect one another. we hope and we pray that all cultures in the world can be loving and peaceful and forgiving and, work together to make this world a better place to live in. But you look at history, it's just not happened. Human beings are sinners. Human beings are fallible. And when one cultural group attacks another cultural group, this isn't the first time in history this has happened. It's happened throughout all human history. And again, I'm not saying this is right. I'm saying that sin, we are as sinners, there is going to be times where we do actions that are hurtful to others, that are hurtful to one another. And it's all human beings, not just one type of cultural group. Every cultural group that has ever existed on this earth has done evil actions to others. I'm going to make that statement again. Every single cultural group that has ever existed in this world has done evil actions to others. I'll just leave it at that. Okay? So forgiveness is the key. Reconciliation is the key. Working together with one another. Hopefully, after the Pope's visit, there can be more, time given to prayer. More time given to working together with the different cultural groups to make the world better, and not to blame one another or to blame entire church hierarchies, entire churches, every person in the church for something a few people committed, the sins that a few people committed. We have to stop that right now. We have to stop blaming the entire church structure for the sins of a few. That's not going to help any if we continue to do that. See, and again, the media is the big part of this. The media has to grow up and act just and fair, but they haven't been doing that over the decades that all these scandals have come out. Okay, so, good that the Pope is here. Remember, the Pope is one person in the entire world, but he is the head of the church. He is the Holy Father, as we call him. So his words mean a lot. His words mean a lot for the entire church. And I think he is very sincere in his apology for the entire church of what happened, even though he had absolutely nothing to do with it, just like 99% of the clergy in the world have nothing to do with priest abuses that have happened. But we have to deal with it because it happened. So that's what we're doing. We're dealing with it right now. Anyways, God bless you. I will talk to you again another time.